So I'm going to put my skeptical asshole hat on here for a second. I just want to say most traders know exactly what their biggest day is. Hey guys, it's Matt. It is time for another skeptical video here, and today we are looking at Vincent Desiano. Hope I pronounced that correctly. So this will be the first time I look at this video, so you'll be watching it with me my first time. And as a reminder, or in case you haven't seen one of these before, these videos aren't meant to call anyone out as a fake trader or anything like that. It's just a way to look at what we see on YouTube as trading advice and also proof of profitable trading, and try to discern, okay, what's legit, what's maybe something we should be at least skeptical or suspect of, and just go from there. And hopefully we learn some things along the way. I do also like to point out when there are good things in these videos. That's one of the most important things to me, is to give credit where credit is due. So let's see what Vincent's got in store for us here today.
Oh man, is it getting hot over here, guys? What an insane day. The largest, I believe, if I could remember in recent memory, besides maybe the GME craze, the largest trading day I have ever had. $23,000 today. An absolutely insanity day. And I want to preface this day.
Okay, before he gets to his preface, I just want to say most traders know exactly what their biggest day is, and they know if they've eclipsed that today or not. That's just a little strange. Maybe he just doesn't give a shit about stuff like that, but I would say most traders have a pretty good idea what their biggest day is. And some of them almost have it tattooed on their forehead and know exactly what the figure is. So just funny.
Okay, I want to talk about something that's very important here that got me to the point today, which is the $23,000 day. How did I get to this point? How I got to this point was being read, okay? Soak that in. How I got to this point today was being down thousands of dollars on Friday. I did not allow my P&L to take me out of trades that I had very high confidence in. I did not allow drawdown. I did not allow a P&L number to take me out of a trade that was valid when you look at the technicals.
That's really good, actually. I don't know anything about his trading strategy. I think he might do trade options. It doesn't really matter. But if you have a system and you have an entry and a stop loss and then a profit target, and you have a planned trade, that trade goes against you but hasn't hit your stop loss yet, you don't get out of it, right? Even if it's a drawdown. Now, there are some people, if they're setting up a swing trade, if they're not in profit by the end of the first day, they'll just cut the trade because there's gap down risk and you can really get slammed. Actually, at the time of making this video, with this huge gap down across the market, it's a Monday, so you can guess which Monday it is. There is gap down risk, which most swing traders are aware of. I'm guessing he's talking about swing trades since he was open Friday, and this seems like it's the next week. But good advice in general, I think, is to not let some red P&L shake you out of a trade if that's part of your system, to just absorb that red P&L.
When you look at the chart and just read it without emotion, is the trade still valid? And I asked myself that on every trade I held over the weekend. Every trade I looked at near Friday's close, and pretty much the entire weekend, because I was a little concerned coming into today. But every single day this weekend, I looked at the chart and I asked myself, is the trade still valid? Right? Is the technical still valid now that the market's closed? I don't have anything I can do. There can't be any decisions being made right now. Let me look at these charts and let me ask myself that question. And every single time I asked myself that question, the answer was yes. And so on Friday, I was down a few $1,000s, close to about $4,000, maybe close to $5,000, and I'll share that with you in some of the running P&Ls here today. I was down a good amount of money. But when I looked at the charts, the trade was valid. And that ability to stay in the trade, regardless of the P&L, is what gets me to today's trading day, which was $23,000 to the upside, $23,000 green. So I'm going to go ahead and break down every single trade that I took, and I'm going to show you how we talked about every single trade.
So one thing, he might get to this. Again, guys, I'm seeing this video for the first time, but one thing that just jumped out there, I want to know, was today $23,000 up from his entry or $23,000 from his low point on Friday, or at least the close on Friday, maybe. So if he closed out Friday down 4,000, is the 23,000 figure he's quoting from there or from his break even point at entry? Honestly, I mean, if it's from the low point, he's still up with like 19,000 or something, right? So I'm nitpicking, but I just think that those kind of things are important to understand because newer traders, aren't probably making $20,000 in a trading day, and those differences might make more of an impact on their P&L and their long-term viability.
Trade in the community and on the live streams every morning on YouTube. We talked about every trade that got me to this point today. So let's go ahead and break it down. Talk about the trades. They were all swing trades from last Friday. Let's jump right into the charts. So before we get started, as always, guys, if I'm going to make these videos about large days, I'm going to show you proof, okay? Because I understand. I get it, right? Big trading days, question marks get raised, all these different questions get raised. I'm going to do the best to share with you everything that I can, right? And I want to make sure that you believe the things that I'm talking about, and I'm going to do my best to do that. And the only way that I could do that, right, with full 100% transparency is to log into my broker right in front of your face. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to log into my paper. Got you again. Not paper trading. We're going to log into my broker
That's amazing. I'm liking this guy so far. Yeah.
account, and we are going to log into the day. We're going to use my face, and we're going to pull it up, okay? And we're going to watch it pull up here on the left side of your charts. And we're going to see it log in, see everything, and you will see my day, okay? So that's where we're going to start this video. Start it there, get it out of the way, and then let's move on to the trades today. So you can see my broker is populating here on your left side. This is Interactive Brokers. As you guys know, this is what I trade with. And I'll go ahead and minimize this so you can see everything on the charts, everything on the broker, so you can see it all from top to bottom. And there it is. So there's my day. $22,000, $22,700. Account is back to almost 70,000. So we're almost due for another withdrawal here after today's trading day.
Wow. So he made 23,000 on a $70,000 account. Holy shit. Well, it was a $50,000 account when he did it. So that's a 50% return on whatever trades he had open. That's man, that's a little mind-boggling there. Okay, so I'm just kind of taking a peek at what he's showing us here, and so it does look like the daily P&L is 22.7 roughly, which makes me think that is the P&L from the close of Friday and not his total open P&L. I do see that he's got unrealized 7.9 thousand left and realized of 8.2. So I'm not sure where 22 comes from there. That's okay. So that makes sense then, as I'm thinking through this. So the trade's really, I'm going to say only here, but that's again, that's only because it's in comparison to the big number, right? The trades really have him up, 16,000, something like that, from when he entered, right? That's where the 7.9 and the 8.2 come into play, I would imagine. So, and just in case you're wondering where I'm looking, it's right here. So this is his daily P&L, which means that's where it is from where he was on Friday, I believe. And then this is his, what I would consider your actual P&L, like the amount of money that you actually made on those trades, right? Guys, it's still impressive. Understand that I'm not busting balls here, but I am just trying to figure out particulars because I think that's important.
41% on Nvidia, $6,500. 40% on Snow, $9,000. 37% on Netflix, $800. That was a trade from today, intraday. Tesla, 2 trades, holding about $10,000 worth of Tesla to the upside. That up about $3,000. Let's scroll down. Another Snow trade that I closed, February 2nd, 210 calls, $2,600 on that. And that's pretty much what gets me to this point, guys. So there's my trading day. There's my broker. You can see it all live right in front of your face. I'll move this all around. I'll click on things, right? We can click on that. We can click on that. We can populate this screen. There you go. All right. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and pull up TradeZella. Here's TradeZella, and here is where this is what we're looking at here. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so we can get it all on the screen. $65,000 on the month, 3%, 3.06 profit factor, 67% win rate, 1.47 win to losing trade. And
let's back that up just a second here, guys. Those are important numbers, and they were pretty impressive. Profit factor 3.06. So his win percentage is high, 67%. That's cool. Average win to loss is 1.47. Yeah, I mean that's a winning system, right? It looks like a positive expectancy there. Interesting. And it looks like it says his trade expectancy. I guess they do it in dollar amount rather than like a percentage or something. But yeah, almost $500 per trade is what he can expect with this system. So interesting. So I'm going to put my skeptical asshole hat on here for a second and just point out that, like, okay, when he logged in, he did black out the box where he logged in, which means he could have actually switched to a paper trading account right then. I'm pretty sure. Let's go back actually and see that, because oh no. Okay, so it is still on live trading. All right, cool. That's good. That's good. Shit, I forgot to mark where I was at, but okay, cool. So definitely a live trading account, it seems, and yeah.
67% win rate, 1.47 win to losing trade. And here is my calendar. So you can see, right? On Friday, I closed the day red, realized. Today, I realized about 8,000. Obviously, I still have some unrealized gains. So if I pull this back up, you can see I've realized about $8,000, and I still have some unrealized gains that I am risking overnight still, right? So I could give back some of this today. It's not a realized 22,000, but it is a $22,000 trading day. So
okay, cool. I'm really impressed that you pointed that out. And this is the YouTube game, right? You put the big number in your title and your thumbnail, and you explain why that big number isn't really the case in your video. That's okay. I have no problems with that. But I'm glad he explained that, right? That really it's the day from where he was on Friday that's so big. He's still throwing around big numbers again, right? He's realized 8,000 and unrealized another 7.9 or something like that. Let's just back that up again. Which is interesting because if you look at his that's interesting. I don't know why that would be, but if you look at the number here on this calendar, once you can see it, it doesn't. The realized P&L doesn't match the P&L on the calendar, but that can be weird things with how things go.
It's 22,000, but it is a $22,000 trading day. So I've realized about 8,000 of that. But let me show you something, okay? Let's go into the trades, right? And I want to share with you what happened here, or at least let me go into a few of these trades and share with you how I was read on these positions. So let's take this snow call right here, the 205 call that I'm still holding. As of right now, I locked in $3,300 on this. I opened some of this position on Friday, right? And I sell some today. Now, if we scroll down, okay, and we'll get into, the technicals on everything. If I scroll down and go to the running P&L, I was down at its peak about $3,500 on this trade. And now I'm up $6,000 on this trade, right? So I was down about $3,500 on this individual snow trade. Let's go to this NVIDIA trade, which is still open. I still have some partials open on this NVIDIA trade. We can see I've locked in about $1,000 on this trade. I opened this on Friday, right? You can see all these entries on Friday, and I close some on the way higher today. This trade, I can go to the running P&L, and you can see at its peak, I was down $2,300 to the downside, and at its peak on the upside, which is the running P&L right now, I am up $4,100. So there was not just straight green here, right? There was belief in the trades that I was in. And this, guys, is very important, okay? We need to enter trades that we trust, that we understand the analysis behind, and that we are feeling confident in, okay? We need to make sure that when we enter a trade, we know what the technical levels are. What is it we are looking for on these trades? So this was instrumental to my gains today. I entered trades with a plan, and I stayed in the trade as long as the plan was valid. And even though I was red on these trades at times, I did not let that red make me think irrationally, make me panic. I did not get out of positions because of a red P&L. So let's start with Snow, because if I pull back up Interactive Brokers, Snow probably is the largest trade that I had today. It was as of right now, on the day, of 9,000 on that one, on this one. So overall today, up over $11,000 on Snow. Why was I entering Snow? What was the idea behind this trade? So first of all, let me go to Desi Swings, where I
Okay, really quick. I want to say a little something about his just this video in general. Like, it seems like we're just going to get this day, which is fine because that's what it says in the title. But this doesn't tell you more about what his overall long-term profits are, and what he actually takes home. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But that's not what he's here for today. So it just happens to be the video I picked.
post every swing trade that we're going to talk about in today's video. Let's go to where we talked about Snow. So we're going to go up, and we're going to go to my Snow entry, which was right here. Right here, you guys can see. I'll go ahead and drag this over. Right here, you guys can see that I was entering Snow at 10:33, February 2nd, 205 call with a stop under 202. Okay, this was my idea. This was the game plan on Snow. Now, of course, intraday, I'm always adding updates, right? I'm not going to bore you with all these updates, but I'm always updating the group with what I'm seeing on the trade. Okay, so let's go to Snow and let's talk about what I was looking for on this trade. Let's talk about the idea and what I wanted Snow to do to stay and remain in the position. So we're going to go out to the 90-day, 1 hour chart on Snow. And originally, I was watching this 202 level. This is really where I wanted to see Snow maintain. Originally, I wanted to see Snow hold over 202. So you can see we had 202, 202, and 202. Now, what Snow did was a break and retest, right? This is, and almost every trade that you're going to watch today that made me this money is my strategy. I did not deviate from my strategy to make this money. And that's what I'm most proud about. I just stuck to the exact same thing I always do, just a little bit more size and still staying confident in.
Okay, cool. Really good point there. Is stick to your strategy. Don't, if you've got a good, well-paying strategy, why are you deviating from it? Most of the time, it's stupid reasons. Like obviously, FOMO is a big one that everybody likes to talk about. I talk about Ikimo sometimes, which is I know I missed out. That's when you passed on a trade and it took off without you, and now you feel like a big dickhead. Another one is just being wanting to be busy, having busy fingers, not waiting until the environment or waiting until your trade's actually set up, and that's one that gets a lot of people.
My strategy. So what did Snow do? Right, last week Snow had a big squeeze to the upside. Now I didn't chase Snow. I didn't chase calls at the top. What did I look for? I was waiting for Snow to come back down to that 202 level. Right, I was waiting for Snow to come back down to these previous highs, right? The quadruple top rejection. I was waiting to see, after we broke out, do we come back down and do we turn this into support for another upside move on a break and retest, right? A break and retest demand hold that would result in another upside move, right? That is something you see on my channel all the time. So if we go ahead and zoom into the shorter term timeframes, and I do want to give a quick shout out to ADR, who's a trader in our community. She got my eyes on this one. I was watching it, but on Friday, she took a position, and that sort of gave me that confidence. I was like, hey, I like this too. I'm going to run with you on this one. So shout out ADR. Congratulations on this trade as well. So here on Friday, guys, you can see this is Friday's trading day. So let me go ahead.
Don't love that, actually. Just, I mean, I feel like your trade should be your trade. I try not to let other traders influence my trading. It seems like they're in a trading group, and so maybe they kind of all support each other, and that's fine. But it's one thing if somebody points out, like, hey, this is a good-looking trade, and then you look at it and also say, yeah, no, that is a good-looking trade. But which I think is probably the case here, and I obviously want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I think for newer traders, it's easy to get sucked into, well, this dude's taking this trade, so I'm going to take it too. And you're kind of looking at it, not really understanding why it's a good trade, just that somebody took it. And I think that's a bad reason to enter a trade, if that's the case.
Didn't zoom into Friday in particular. Here was Friday. This was Friday's trading day right here. So on Friday, we opened, all right, we dropped to the downside, and again, we saw that 202 holding as demand. So after seeing that 202 hold as demand again on Friday, you guys can see right here, I'll go back to that entry point. I entered snow right here at 1033 with a stop under 202. 1033 was right around here because I saw that demand step up again. The day was not great, right? You can see we got a little bit of upside, but pretty much the whole day we just chopped sideways. Now, this trading action, this consolidation above my demand level should not be making me get out of a position, right? Because what is my plan here? My plan is to long 202 on the retest and stay in the trade as long as it's above that level. Do not micromanage the position. And you can see we did get a quick pop, but we didn't get much, right? We sort of just stayed sideways and sort of got weak into close on Friday. Now, coming into today, right, we can see we had a little bit of drama in the pre-market, right? And I told the group today and the live stream that if we turned 202 into a rejection today, I would have had to take a loss on this trade. Now, what you can see pretty much right off the open, we once again reclaimed that 200 we held, but we reclaimed that 202, right? And so that 202 level, once again, holds as a demand, right, this morning, and pretty much the rest is history, right? I just rode this thing out all day. I saw that aggressive pop off the open. That solidified my idea that 202 was demand, that it was holding again, and I wanted to see if this would come to fruition. The other thing that I was looking for, right, of course, with the 202 retest that came in, was the break of the downtrend. We had the downtrend that was setting up. We had the retest level right below. I was entering near the...
This is some solid price action stuff here, guys. So, yeah, I'm impressed with the way he's talking about this stuff. It does sound like he's got his plan and he's pretty confident. I would say, you know, there is some gap down risk there, but he must not worry about that so much. Of course, back in January of this year, you didn't have to worry about so much downside risk. It was one hell of a bull market at that point, right? Yeah, interesting stuff here. You know, yeah, no more to say, I guess.
These lows, right, entering near demand, looking for that upside, and that is pretty much exactly what we got. So all in all, guys, what did this trade require? Well, one, it required an understanding of the break and retest strategy, right? That's number one. You guys can see very clearly. Previous rejections, previous rejections, previous rejections, previous rejections, right? Break above it, come back down into it. Does it turn from rejections into demand? And if it does, right, we take our trade there with a fantastic risk to reward, and we get our downtrend break, and that is exactly what we saw today. That's the first requirement. Understanding the break and retest strategy, which is what I teach on this channel and talk about all the time. Number two, the other thing that this trade required to end up profitable on it was patience. Patience and understanding of the strategy, patience to stay in the position as long as it remained above your stop loss, which it did all day Friday and which it did all day today. So guys, that was the first trade on snow. I still hold some of this position. Of course, you're probably going to see a little bit of supply around this 210 area. So I did take profits on a lot of it into close, but I do maintain some of that trade over the week or overnight into tomorrow. Next, let's go into NVIDIA. NVIDIA. Why was I entering NVIDIA calls on Friday? Why was I looking for upside continuation on this stock? Again, it's the break and the retest. So here is the hourly chart on NVIDIA, guys. And what I noticed here, I'm going to clean up this chart and just focus on what I looked at on the trade, right? We're going to clean this up and just focus on the first part of the trade and the understanding of this retest and why I entered the position. So let's go ahead and pull up the Discord, right, and talk about where I entered this position for the group. Right here, you can see on Friday, very interesting NVIDIA retest yesterday into today, right? We had that retest of that 602 level. Could set something up into next week. This was talked to the group on Friday. Last swing before I head out, taking a small stab on NVIDIA next week, 615 calls, and I had an original stop under 612. Okay? Now, as I always do, I was reassessing intraday, right? Staying patient here before I dip out of NVIDIA, reassessing NVIDIA, giving updates to the group about what I was looking at. Now, you can see here, what was this trade on NVIDIA? Once again, this was a rejection point on NVIDIA that turned into a demand on NVIDIA, which after we bounced off of it, where did we come back into? We came right back into that level. So we had what? A rejection turn into a new low, right? You can see a previous high turn into a new low. And after seeing that, I was confident that I could attempt a long here near that 602 area. Now, I didn't get an entry near 602. What I was watching was a little bit on the shorter term. So if I go to the 5-minute chart, what I was watching here on NVIDIA on Friday was actually around this 610 to 612 level. So we had around this 610 and this 610 to 608, it was sort of this whole consolidation. It was right here, and it was right here, right? We can see we had that Wednesday low around that 612, 611 area, and then we had this Friday consolidation right around this 608, which was this low from Thursday. So I had this holding, right, this 608, and I had this 611, 612 level, which was also attempting to hold at some points on Friday, which got me interested in that swing trade. As long as this retest was valid, right? Right here. As long as NVIDIA was above 602, I knew that this was a bullish market structure. I knew that we just went from turning this previous high at 602 into a perfect double bottom demand, right? And so I was interested in adding NVIDIA on Friday, looking for this to sort of consolidate, right? Sort of consolidate, move lower, and then ultimately hold that retest level at 602. Once again, what is this? This is a break and retest, and a flag breakout. Look how similar that looks to snow. So what was I doing, right?
Again, great, great price action talk here, guys. I love it. I love it so far. I'm impressed.
I was entering NVIDIA pretty much all day Friday, and I was understanding that if the market could maintain, and if NVIDIA could maintain this 602, I was willing to see if this could have continuation. So you guys can see right here, right? This is on Friday. I was sort of adding into this position all day. I was very interested, right? Gaining my share, gaining my sort of size over time, consolidating into this position, gaining interest, right? Understanding the larger term picture, but getting different entries throughout the day, growing my size in this position as it was maintaining. I sold some today for a small profit, sort of mid-afternoon, but I did hold majority of it. And you can see selling a little bit into close today, just to de-risk, right? Just because I got my move doesn't mean that or just because, it starts to work doesn't mean I shouldn't be de-risking here. So starting to de-risk, right? Took some profits on it. And then as of right now, sitting up about 41% on this position as of close today. And you have a very big after hours move on NVIDIA. This could look even better tomorrow morning. So NVIDIA was the number 2 trade, right? And what was it? Again, guys, break and retest of a previous high, which is the same thing as snow, right? We look at snow here. We see a previous high, we see a break and retest flag, right? And if we go to NVIDIA, it's the same exact thing. NVIDIA, we have a previous high, we have a break and retest hold of that high, and we have the flag breakout.
So what I like about this in particular is that he is reviewing 2 trades that are similar to kind of reinforce, like, hey, this is the setup that I trade, this is what I look for, which is a great fucking setup to be looking for in January of this year. Again, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of bull flags going on, a lot of breakout, consolidate, breakout again. There was a lot of that happening. So it's a good strategy for that time of year. I'm just thinking back to his stats where it said, the trade expectancy was like $400 a trade or $500 a trade, which is still, guys, who doesn't want that, right? An expectancy of 500 a trade is pretty solid, right? So, but I'm just thinking, like, man, he must take some losses too. If he has a big day like this, it's got to be getting balanced out somewhere, guys. He's got to be taking some losses as well, right? So, which, understand when I say that, I mean some heavy losses, because everybody takes losses. But yeah, I'm just saying, I'm wondering, I would love to see his longer term stats.
Same exact setup that you saw on those 2 trades. So what else did I trade? What else did we talk about in the group? What else did I take? The other trade that we were holding was Shopify. Now, Shopify finally working out for me today. I'll go ahead and scroll up here. Shopify was a trade that I took on the 23rd, right? On the 23rd, I opened a trade on Shopify. You guys can see right here, the $80 call on Shopify. Today, that trade closing up about 18%. And if I go to Shopify, this is why I was entering that trade, right? Once again, what was it, right? The same exact thing. What do you know? It is a previous high that has turned into a demand, right? So I'm not going to go too far into shop because it's the same exact thing again. I think you get the picture, but you can see previous high, into a low, into a low, into a low, into a low. And what this trade required was patience, a belief in the plan, an understanding of the strategy, right? And knowing that as long as Shopify was holding above those previous double top highs, there was a chance that it could move higher, right? Staying in the position as long as Shopify stayed above that level. And you can see today, we got the very nice push and a squeeze above 83, which was very key. Now I want to talk about 2 more trades. Number 1 being Netflix, which as of right now, as into close, I am up 38% on. And then also I want to talk about Tesla. So let's go to Netflix, because Netflix is the definition of break and retest today. It was probably the cleanest break and retest intraday that I have seen here. Look at this on Netflix. You guys can very clearly see this. This should very much clear up some things for you if you're trying to understand this strategy. Previous highs. Previous highs. Friday, beautiful hold. Today, perfect pullback and a perfect hold. So what did we do here? What we did was we got above, right? We got above, let me delete that. We got above a previous double top high here on Friday, right? We got above it. What did we do today? We pulled back to it. We held it as demand, and I entered long right in that area, right? So let me go ahead and drop this, or go to the Discord. We'll go to we'll go to Netflix right here. You guys can see Netflix today at 10:56. As of now, planning to swing trade Netflix February 2nd, 580 calls. This was the chart at the time. It was a perfect break and retest of 562, right? And you can see how beautiful this set up today to the upside. This was an awesome entry. Once again, Netflix went from creating rejections here, right, into turning this into a support. A perfect flip of this level. You can see we went from rejecting it to holding it as support. Perfection. Netflix break and retest today. Beautiful. The last trade that I'm going to talk about today is Tesla. And yes, I am taking a shot to the upside on Tesla. And let me explain why. Tesla did something very, very important today, my friends, as to why I considered this to be a potential upside trade. What did Tesla do today that is so important? Tesla went from creating rejections at 187, creating rejections at 187 on Friday. It went from creating those rejections to turning it into a support. What do you know? It's the break and retest again. We went from creating rejections at 187 to turning that level into a support. Today, we saw a break and retest hold of 187. And once again, right here, guys, you can see taking a long here on Tesla off this 187 retest. Right here around the 116. This is what the chart looked like. I was taking longs here on Tesla as we pulled back into that 187 level. Once again, a break and retest on Tesla. So that is probably where I'm going to wrap up this video, guys. Every single trade that made me this money today was in the community. Every single trade that we talked about in today's video and every trade that I took to make this money was, again, a break and retest long entry. And that is why I continue to trade this strategy without fear, with 100% trust. And this is what it's going to take, right? To continue to grow an account. It's going to take belief in your strategy, belief in your risk management, belief in what you're doing here. And I hope that watching today's video shows you more examples of break and retests, gives you a better idea of how to trade them. And I hope that it inspires you to go out, try to find these entries, try to trade the break and retest, and see if it works for you. Thank you guys again for watching. Press that like button if you want to trade live with me every single day. The link is down in the description. Right now, there's a 10% coupon you can take advantage of. Make sure to come to the pre-market live streams where we talked about every trade from today.
Wait, was his discount code actually WAP? That's incredible. Seems like he has a pretty good sense of humor. So, guys, I'm making this video, you can see, on the 5th of August, which is an interesting day. We had this huge gap down today in the market because of the whole, the carry trade and all of that breaking down in Japan and all of that. Anyway, it was a giant gap down day, and then from what I saw before I started this video, it was a pretty good bounce back day. Honestly, I wasn't trading today. I saw that huge gap down, and that's not really my bread and butter to be trading in a environment like that. So anyway, okay, thoughts overall. I do like this video. I mean, I think he does a good job explaining exactly what he was doing, and I think again, he kind of used the fancy title for YouTube, but then did explain what the P&L actually looked like a little bit. I like that. I could have used a little bit more of that, honestly, just a little bit more in depth. But he did a good job. I'm nitpicking here. I do want to go back to where he showed these stats. Okay, cool. So these are for the trading year, which he's at the end of January here. So, I mean, look, that's nice. I mean, who doesn't want to who doesn't want to make 65,000 in a month, right? That's pretty solid. A lot of people had good months in January. I'm not taking anything away from them, but if you were a bullish trader in January, you did pretty well, as I did as well. I don't remember. I was probably up, I think, 15 or 20 R at the end of January. So, yeah, it was good. It was a good month, right? But I would love to see, and this isn't a critique of this video, but in order to want to follow this guy or to join his Discord, I would want to see more long-term results, right? Because it's great if you make 65,000 in a month, but it's not great if you give it all back the next month. I'm not saying that he did. I'm just saying, you need to know that. You need to know someone's long-term profitability. This break and retest strategy that he's talking about is a popular one, and I trade a similar style. Bull flags are timeless, right? They've been around forever, and lots of traders have made lots of money with those. Yeah, so I would just like to see what kind of what he does in a different market environment. In fact, maybe I'll take a look at some of his other videos just really quickly to see if he provides longer term P&Ls, or if he does like a monthly review. That would be amazing. I would love that. Just at the end of every month, say, hey, this was my P&L for the end of the month. Or you know me, I don't really care about dollars P&L, because that usually depends on account size and things like that. I'm more a fan of like, okay, what was your R multiple at the end of the month? And one thing he didn't talk about was, and this is hard with options, I get this, but like, he talked about his risk level, but like, okay, I'm going to enter the trade here, and if it drops below this level, I'm going to have to take it off. But it seems like he doesn't have a clear risk reward necessarily, which for me is, I would be uncomfortable with that. But it seems to be working for him, at least for this month that he's showing us. But anyway, let's go see if we can look at some of his other videos. Okay, guys, I just took a quick look back at some of his videos. He does talk about losing sometimes, not very often, which is okay, whatever. I mean, that doesn't always... Actually, people love losing videos on YouTube because they just, people are attracted to carnage, right? Like this video, he says he's down 10,000 in a week, which, sure, that would happen sometimes. If you're up 65,000 in a month, you're probably going to take a down week, and it's going to be a pretty big one every once in a while. Anyway, it looks like a lot of good content. If I was giving a score out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10 or something like that, just because I'd like to see more like, a monthly review that follows the same format of, okay, this is my P&L, these are all my trades for the month, something like that. I would love to see a little bit more of that. Especially, and he might do that inside his community and not on YouTube, which is okay. I mean, that's his decision, but I would rather see that before I signed up for a community. But overall, again, I think the talk about price action and what he's looking for was really good. It does seem like even recently he's talking about breakout and retest strategy. So right here on NVIDIA. So I'm really curious how he did today, and I'm not being snarky there. I would love to see how his system held up if he was maybe long some things from Thursday or Friday, and what happened today, what kind of hits he might have taken. But hopefully none. Hopefully not. I cheer for everybody. I want everybody to make money. So anyway, I really like this, guys, and I'm glad whoever pointed him out in my comments section. Thank you. I've been asking, man, guys, I'd really like to do a video where I like most of what the person says, and this is one of them. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time. Yeah, it's fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.